All right, so today we're going to be looking at documentation tools. Specifically, we're going to be doing a deep dive into MadCap Flare and Confluence.
Okay.
This is...
Big names.
Big names, yeah.
Yeah.
So this is going to be perfect for, technical writers, documentation specialists,
Right.
IT pros, anyone who's working with documentation.
Anyone who needs to get information out there.
Exactly. And we're using this article by Curt Robbins to guide us through this.
Yeah.
And he's a senior technical writer. He's worked with some pretty impressive companies like FedEx, Microsoft, Wells Fargo.
Yeah, he's been around.
He knows his stuff.
He's got the experience for sure.
Yeah.
So we're in good hands with this article.
Yeah, definitely. So MadCap Flare and Confluence.
Yeah.
Both really important tools, but they have very different approaches to documentation.
They do.
It's kind of like choosing between, a Swiss Army knife and a super sharp chef's knife.
Ooh, I like that analogy.
Right.
Yeah.
Both are useful.
Very useful.
But for different purposes.
Absolutely. You wouldn't use a chef's knife to open a can.
You wouldn't want to do that.
No, you would not.
All right, so let's break down these tools.
Okay.
First up, MadCap Flare. So it's all about creating structured, professional-looking output. PDFs, online help systems, even mobile-ready content.
It can do it all?
Yeah, it can do it all.
Pretty much.
So it's like the architect of the documentation world.
I like that.
Everything has its place, and it's beautifully organized.
Yeah, and a key part of that organization is single sourcing.
Yes.
Which is something that Flare is really good at.
Yes.
Basically, you write the content once, and you can publish it to all these different formats.
Right, so you don't have to, update the same information in like 12 different documents.
Exactly. Have you ever had to do that?
Oh, yeah.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
And Flare eliminates that.
It's a lifesaver.
It is.
Especially for these big, complex projects.
Huge projects, yeah.
But it gets even better.
Oh.
Flare lets you get super granular with customization.
Okay. Tell me more.
Like we're talking XML, CSS, scripting.
Wow.
It gives you so much control over the look and feel.
Okay, so like you can really fine-tune it.
Yes, you can fine-tune it.
If you want to.
It's like having your own design studio at your fingertips.
Really? So like if you're a control freak, this is like the tool for you.
If you want that level of control, this is the tool for you.
I see.
But there's always a but.
There's always a but, right.
Right.
So all that power and flexibility comes with a price.
Okay, what do you mean?
Well, Flare can be a little bit of an investment.
Like a financial investment?
Financial investment, but also in terms of the learning curve.
Oh, okay.
It's not exactly something that you can just pick up and master in an afternoon.
So you're saying it's a little complex?
It's a little complex. It takes a little bit of time to really learn all the ins and outs.
So it's more for people who are serious about documentation.
And are willing to put in the time.
And are willing to put in the time.
Yeah.
All right, so now let's switch gears. Let's talk about Confluence. So if Flare is the meticulous architect, Confluence is like the ultimate collaborator.
Okay.
It's built for teams working in real time, constantly like iterating and updating documentation.
So it's perfect for like Agile workflows.
Perfect for Agile workflows.
Oh, okay.
You could think of it as like a living, breathing documentation hub where everyone can contribute.
Oh, okay.
Everyone can edit, everyone can share information, and it's so easy to use.
Really? Easier than Flare?
Oh, yeah. Much easier than Flare.
Okay.
It's cloud-based, so you can access it from anywhere.
So you don't have to, like, install it on your computer or anything?
No.
That's nice.
It's got a really intuitive interface.
Even someone who's not super technical can use it?
Exactly.
Okay.
And then for those of you who are already using Jira, Trello, other Atlassian tools, Confluence integrates seamlessly.
Oh, wow. So it's all part of the same ecosystem.
It's all part of the same ecosystem. They were made for each other.
Yeah.
So Curt Robbins, he outlines some key pros and cons for each tool.
Oh, okay. Let's hear it.
So let's take a look at what he says, starting with Flare. He highlights its single sourcing, customization, and scalability.
Yeah, we talked about those.
All the things we just talked about?
Yeah.
But he also mentioned something that I think is really important for our listeners.
Okay, what's that?
Comprehensive training and support.
So,
like they actually help you learn the software.
MadCap, the company behind Flare, they understand that their users need guidance.
Yeah.
And they invest in providing excellent resources.
That's great, especially considering how complex it is.
It is a complex tool.
Yeah.
So it's nice to know that there's support there.
Yeah, definitely. So what about Confluence? So he emphasizes ease of use, cloud accessibility, and those collaboration features.
Yeah.
All huge benefits for teams that need to move quickly and work together.
Yeah. In today's world, speed is everything.
Speed is key.
Yeah.
But just like with any tool, there are some trade-offs.
Right. Okay, so what are some of the downsides of Confluence?
Well, he mentions that Confluence might lack some of those advanced features that you find in Flare. especially when it comes to creating highly structured and polished outputs.
PDFs.
Like PDFs, yeah.
Yeah.
It just might not be the best fit if you need that fine-grained control over every single design element. Or if you need to create those complex print-ready documents.
Right.
And he also says that Confluence can sometimes struggle with really large documentation sets.
Oh, really?
Like searching and organizing content
Yeah.
can become challenging when you have just tons and tons of pages.
Yeah, I can see how that would be a problem.
So this is where Robbins' experience, I think, really comes in handy.
Oh, how so?
He gives us some advice
Yeah.
on which tool might be the best fit
Okay.
for different scenarios.
Right. I'm listening.
So he suggests that if you are creating really detailed user guides,
Okay.
policy manuals, anything that requires strict compliance standards,
Oh, so like
in healthcare,
yeah, regulated industry?
regulated industries,
Got it.
finance, things like that,
Uh-huh.
he says Flare is probably the way to go.
I see, because you need to make sure everything is accurate.
Everything has to be accurate. You need to minimize risk, especially in those industries.
The high stakes.
High stakes, yeah. And he also points out that Flare's single sourcing capabilities are really valuable for these large, complex projects.
Makes sense. So if you've got something really big and complicated,
You're going to want to use Flare.
Flare's a good choice.
Okay. Now, on the flip side, he sees Confluence as the ideal choice for Agile teams.
Yeah.
Dynamic documentation, like internal wikis, or companies that are just like really deeply embedded in that Atlassian ecosystem.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's all about speed, flexibility, and collaboration.
Got it.
But hold on a second. We talked about single sourcing with Flare.
Yeah.
Is that really necessary for a smaller team?
That's a good point.
If you're just trying to crank out documentation quickly.
Yeah, maybe Confluence is better.
Maybe Confluence is better because it's so flexible and easy to use.
Yeah, you don't want to overcomplicate things.
Exactly. It depends on your needs and your priorities.
Okay.
So if you're in a fast-paced environment
where
things are constantly changing, Confluence's agility might be more important than Flare's structure.
Makes sense.
So it's all about choosing the tool that best fits your team's workflow and the type of documentation you're creating.
I see. So no one-size-fits-all answer here.
No one-size-fits-all.
It's about knowing the tool.
Knowing your tool.
And your needs.
And your needs.
And then making the best decision.
Exactly.
Based on your situation.
So as we wrap things up,
okay,
what key takeaway should our listeners keep in mind?
All right. So first,
yeah,
both Flare and Confluence are powerful.
Yes, they are.
But they're good at different things. Flare is great for structured content, polished documentation.
Especially in regulated industries.
Yeah, or large projects.
Right.
Confluence is more about collaboration, agile teams, things that change quickly.
Exactly.
So it really depends on your needs. And hey, if you have experience with either of these tools, let us know.
Share your thoughts. We want to hear about it.
We can all learn from each other.
Definitely the documentation community is a great resource.
It is so.
Let's keep this conversation going.
Yeah.
Well, that wraps up our deep dive into MadCap Flare and Confluence.
Two powerful tools.
Two very different approaches.
But both very useful.
Hopefully you feel more confident.
In making a choice.
In choosing the right tool for you.
Yeah.
For your documentation needs.
Until next time.
Happy documenting, everyone.